The news cycle, it just never stops, does it? It feels like information overload sometimes.
It really does. So much happening all at once.
Exactly. So today, we're hitting pause on that frantic pace. We're going to do a deep dive. We've gathered the top headlines coming out of India as of today, April 29th, 2025.
And the idea is to unpack them, give you a clearer understanding of what's actually going on behind those headlines.
Right. We've looked through the reports, and the range is, well, pretty staggering. We've got sports history being made, some really serious international tensions.
Regulatory changes, tech news, even science looking into ancient rituals. It's quite a mix.
So our mission today is simple. Give you, our listener, a solid, concise understanding of these key events. Cut through the noise, get to the substance.
Let's do it. Where should we start?
Let's kick off with something that's got the sports world buzzing, a truly historic moment in the IPL.
Ah, yes. The 14-year-old phenomenon, Vaibhav Suryavanshi. Incredible story.
Absolutely incredible. He's just become the youngest player ever to score a century in the Indian Premier League, playing for Rajasthan Royals.
And not just any century. He smashed 101 runs off just 35 balls. That's blistering pace.
It really is. The stats are mind-blowing. 11 sixes, and get this, one of them was off Rashid Khan, plus 7 fours.
Wow, off Rashid Khan at 14.
Yeah.
That takes some nerve and skill, obviously.
Definitely. And it's not just the youngest century record he broke. That 35-ball 100 is now the fastest ever by an Indian in the IPL.
And second fastest overall, right? Only behind Chris Gale's 30-baller.
That's the one. Putting a 14-year-old, just 14 years and 32 days old, in the same sentence as Gale is just remarkable.
It completely changes the perspective on age in professional sports. The previous youngest was Manish Pandey, and he was 19.
A whole 5 years older. And Suryavanshi wasn't exactly unknown before this, was he?
No, not at all. He already made waves, becoming the youngest player to get an IPL contract at 13. For a hefty sum, too, 11 crore.
Which is about, what, $129,000?
Yeah.
Huge for a 13-year-old.
And then he hits a 6 off his very first ball in the IPL this season. Talk about announcing your arrival.
No kidding. And his dominance wasn't just against anyone. He apparently took 28 runs off a single over from Ishant Sharma.
Ishant Sharma, the veteran Indian pacer. Wow. And reached his 50 in just 17 balls during that innings. That's just fearless.
Fearless, but composed, too. That's what's drawing comparisons to some cricketing legends. That blend of aggression and maturity.
And it's not like he just appeared out of thin air. He's represented India at the under-19 level.
Right, and he even scored a century on his Test debut back in September 2024. In just 58 balls, I read. So he's got pedigree.
Definitely. And it's a bright spot for the Rajasthan Royals, who are currently 8th in the standings, right?
Yeah, 3 wins from 10 matches. So Suryavanshi's performance is huge for them.
Big picture, this really highlights the IPL as a platform for young talent, doesn't it? And its global appeal. It makes you rethink age limits.
It really does. Okay, now we have to shift gears, unfortunately, to some extremely serious and tragic news.
Yes, the headlines are also dominated by the deadly terror attack in Jammu and Kashmir, a truly horrific event.
It happened on April 22nd in the Bizaran Valley near Pahalgam, targeting tourists.
The numbers are just devastating. 26 people killed, 25 of them tourists, plus a local pony operator, and over 20 injured.
It's being called the deadliest attack on civilians there since the 2008 Mumbai attacks. That's a grim milestone.
The details that are emerging are chilling. Reports say 5 militants armed with AK-47s and M4 carbines.
Specifically targeted Hindu tourists asking for names for their religion.
And then shooting them at close range, just barbaric.
Survivors have shared absolutely harrowing accounts, being asked to recite Islamic verses.
Men being checked for circumcision to identify their religion. It's horrifying.
Yeah.
And some were apparently spared, told to relay the horrors to PM Modi.
Unbelievable. Initially, responsibility was claimed by the Resistance Front, or TRF.
Right, believed to be an offshoot of Lashkar-e-Taiba. They cited opposition to Indian policies on non-Kashmiri settlement.
But then they retracted that claim.
Yes, they later denied involvement, which just adds to the confusion and anger.
Predictably, this has sparked a severe diplomatic crisis between India and Pakistan.
Absolutely. India immediately accused Pakistan of backing cross-border terrorism, and the response was swift.
India suspended the Indus Waters Treaty, expelled Pakistani diplomats, closed borders, really significant steps.
Pakistan, for its part, has strongly denied any involvement. and they've retaliated.
How so?
They suspended the Simla Agreement, imposed trade restrictions, closed their airspace.
We'll get back to that airspace closure later as it's affecting flights.
Right. And they issued a stark warning that any obstruction of water flow under the Indus Treaty would be seen as an act of war.
So tensions are incredibly high. What's the latest on the investigation?
The Indian investigation reportedly points towards Lashkar-e-Taiba. They've identified suspects, 2 Pakistani nationals and 1 local individual.
And there's a bounty out for them now.
Yes. Meanwhile, there's heightened military activity, international condemnation is pouring in, and these retaliatory measures keep escalating. It's a very dangerous situation for regional stability.
Given how tense things are, it's no surprise other countries are weighing in. We're seeing headlines about Turkey's President Erdogan calling for restraint.
Yes, Erdogan urged both India and Pakistan to step back, engage in dialogue. It reflects widespread international concern about 2 nuclear-armed neighbors on this path.
We just went through the tit-for-tat measures, suspending treaties, closing borders and airspace. These aren't small things.
Not at all. And there's military fallout, too. Reports of skirmishes along the line of control for several nights after the attack.
Exchange of small arms fire, increased troop deployments on both sides. It sounds like the situation on the ground is very tense.
It is. And internally, India has reportedly intensified its crackdown in Kashmir. Over 1,500 detentions, demolishing homes linked to suspected militants.
The religious targeting aspect of the attack has caused widespread outrage in India, hasn't it?
Huge outrage and real fear of further escalation, further violence.
And it's not just Turkey calling for calm.
No, China has also urged restraint, warning against actions that could destabilize the region further.
So this is clearly one of the most severe crises between India and Pakistan in quite some time. Key agreements suspended, cross-border incidents.
It puts the whole region on edge. The implications for security are, frankly, quite worrying.
Okay, let's shift focus now to something happening domestically within India, new rules for influencer marketing.
Right. This involves ASCI, the Advertising Standards Council of India. They've updated their guidelines specifically for influencers in the health and finance sectors.
What's the main goal here? More transparency.
Exactly. Transparency and consumer protection. They want influencers to be really clear when something is a paid promotion or sponsorship.
Especially for health products or financial services, investment opportunities, areas where misleading claims can be really harmful.
Precisely. No more ambiguity. If it's an ad, it needs to look like an ad.
Are there specific new restrictions on what they can say, particularly about health stuff?
Yes. For health endorsements, they can't make exaggerated or unsubstantiated claims about how well something works or its benefit.
And for finance, like investments or loans.
Clear disclaimers about the risks involved are now mandatory. The idea is to stop influencers from glamorizing potentially risky financial decisions.
Makes sense. And I gather there's a ban on promoting certain things altogether.
Correct. Promoting any products or services that are already banned or restricted in India is explicitly forbidden under these new guidelines.
Why the change now? Is it just because influencer marketing has gotten so big?
That's a huge part of it. There's growing concern about the sheer influence these personalities have, Axios is trying to ensure ethical advertising practices keep pace. It aligns with what's happening globally, too.
Who's responsible for making sure these rules are followed? Just the influencers?
No, it's a shared responsibility. Brands and agencies working with influencers also have to educate them and monitor the content for compliance.
What happens if they don't comply? Does ASCII have teeth?
Well, they aren't a government body with legal enforcement powers, but they can issue public warnings, demand content be taken down, so there are reputational risks and practical consequences.
So it's a proactive move to build consumer trust in these really sensitive areas, reflecting how digital advertising is changing.
Absolutely. It's about keeping advertising ethical as the landscape evolves.
Now let's turn to politics. There's a controversy brewing in Karnataka involving the Chief Minister.
Yes, Chief Minister Siddaramaiah. A video emerged from a Congress rally in Mysuru on April 28th.
What happened?
It seems he got quite agitated when police were trying to manage the crowd near the stage during the Lok Sabha election campaign event.
Agitated how?
In the video, after an officer apparently tried to stop some party workers from getting too close to the stage, the Chief Minister is heard saying quite clearly, "I will hit you."
Well, to a police officer during a public rally.
Exactly. The video went viral almost immediately. Lots of criticism from opposition parties, especially the BJP and the public.
What's the BJP saying?
They're condemning it strongly, calling it arrogance, a threat to police morale. They're demanding an apology and asking the Election Commission to step in, citing the Model Code of Conduct.
Which is currently in effect because of the elections. How is the Congress Party responding?
They're trying to downplay it, saying it was said in the heat of the moment, not meant literally. They're emphasizing his respect for the police, his commitment to law and order.
But it's definitely added fuel to the fire in the Karnataka election campaign.
Oh, for sure. It's become a major talking point used by both sides for political attacks. It really highlights the intense atmosphere right now and raises questions about political conduct.
Okay, let's switch gears again. The Indian passenger vehicle market sounds like it's undergoing quite a transformation.
It really is. A lot of factors are driving change. Consumer tastes, new technology, regulations. It's a dynamic space right now.
Has it bounced back strongly after the pandemic slowdown?
Yes, sales growth has been strong, and a key trend is premiumization. People are increasingly opting for SUVs and vehicles packed with more features.
Why is that? Just more money around.
That's part of it, rising incomes, urbanization, but also, an aspirational middle class looking for more comfort, better safety features, more connectivity in their cars.
Makes sense. What about electric vehicles? Are they finally taking off in India?
They're definitely gaining traction. Government incentives are helping. Charging infrastructure is slowly improving, and there's more environmental awareness.
But still early days.
Relatively speaking, yes. It's still a small percentage of the overall market, but manufacturers are investing heavily. They see the long-term potential.
Are hybrid vehicles playing a role too?
Yes, hybrids are seen as a good transitional technology for many. They offer better fuel efficiency without the range anxiety sometimes associated with pure EVs, especially where charging isn't widespread yet.
And how is technology changing the way people buy cars? Is it all online now?
Not entirely, but digitalization is huge. People do most of their research online. Virtual showrooms are becoming common. Digital financing options are popular. Automakers are using data analytics more, too, for personalization.
What about the used car market? Is that growing as well?
Yes, significantly. It's becoming much more organized, with big players and digital platforms bringing more trust and transparency to buying and selling used vehicles.
And regulations? Are they pushing change too?
Definitely. Stricter emission norms, higher safety standards, they're forcing manufacturers to innovate, invest in cleaner and safer tech.
Are there still challenges? Supply chains, costs?
Oh, yes. Supply chain issues linger, cost pressures are real. But overall, the outlook is positive. Continued growth shaped by these trends: premiumization, electrification, digitalization, and regulation.
Now, circling back to those geopolitical tensions we discussed earlier, they're impacting air travel quite directly. Air India is having to reroute flights.
That's right. Because Pakistan closed its airspace in retaliation after the Pahalgam attack, Air India flights that would normally cross Pakistan have to take much longer routes.
Which routes are most affected?
Primarily flights between India and Europe, the Middle East, and Central Asia. Those usually take the most direct path over Pakistan.
So where are they flying now? Around Pakistan?
Exactly. They're detouring, often over the Arabian Sea or through the airspace of other neighboring countries. Adds significant time and distance.
Which must mean higher costs for Air India, right? Fuel consumption alone.
Absolutely. Increased fuel burn, higher operational costs. Plus, it's a major inconvenience for passengers with longer flight times.
Is it just Air India or are other airlines facing this too?
It affects India's whole aviation sector to some extent. It could lead to higher ticket prices generally and logistical headaches for any airline flying those routes. Requires a lot of coordination with international aviation bodies.
What if this airspace closure drags on? Any long-term worries?
Yes, definitely. Prolonged closure could seriously impact regional connectivity, trade, tourism, things that rely on efficient air travel.
And when might Pakistani airspace reopen?
That really depends on diplomatic de-escalation between India and Pakistan. Right now, it's uncertain. Just another example of how political tensions can ripple out.
A very clear example. Okay, let's move to something positive and forward-looking. AI education in Tamil Nadu schools.
Yes, this is a really interesting initiative. The Tamil Nadu government is launching a program to teach artificial intelligence concepts to school students.
What's the goal? Preparing them for the future, I assume.
Precisely. Getting young minds familiar with AI, what it is, how it's used, the ethics involved. They plan to use interactive learning projects, make it engaging.
Sounds like part of a bigger strategy for Tamil Nadu.
It seems so. Integrating advanced tech into education, trying to bridge the digital divide, positioning the state as a tech hub.
What kind of AI topics will they cover? Machine learning, robotics.
Foundational stuff like that, yes. machine learning, natural language processing, robotics, but tailored to be age-appropriate, of course.
And they're training teachers, too. That's crucial.
Absolutely. Teacher training is a key component to make sure it's delivered effectively.
Is the focus just on the tech skills or something broader?
Broader, definitely. They're emphasizing critical thinking, problem solving, encouraging students to think about applying AI creatively and responsibly.
What are the hopes for this program long term?
Empowering students with future-proof skills, fostering innovation early on. It aligns with India's national goals for digital literacy, too.
How's it being received? By educators, parents?
Very positively, it seems. Educators, parents, even the tech industry see it as a progressive step.
Are there challenges? Scaling it up, ensuring access for everyone?
Of course,
Yeah.
those are big challenges for any statewide initiative like this, but the government seems committed to tackling them. It's a significant investment in the next generation.
Definitely one to watch. Now, shifting to the tech industry itself, even giants like Apple face challenges in India. Hearing about delays in their expansion plans.
Yes, that's the story. Apple's push to manufacture more in India is apparently hitting some hurdles. Specifically, delays in getting components imported from China.
Apple wants to diversify away from China, right? Make India a bigger manufacturing base, especially for iPhones.
That's a strategic goal, reduce reliance on China. But these import delays are causing problems.
What's causing the delays? Stricter checks by India.
It seems so. More stringent import regulations, tougher customs checks on shipments from China, likely linked to geopolitical tensions, and India's Make in India push.
So it's disrupting production timelines.
Potentially, yes, slowing things down, which could undermine the effort to make India a major manufacturing alternative.
Are Apple suppliers feeling it too? Foxconn, Pegatron.
Reports suggest they are, facing operational challenges because components are getting held up in customs, sometimes for weeks.
Could this make Apple rethink its India plans if it continues?
That's the concern analysts raise. If these import bottlenecks persist, Apple might have to slow down or reconsider the scale of its investments. It highlights a broader challenge for companies trying to shift supply chains out of China.
India wants the investment, but these kinds of operational hurdles could make it less attractive.
Exactly. It's a balancing act. I understand Apple is talking to Indian authorities, trying to find solutions.
A situation worth monitoring. Okay, let's look at regional politics again. Comments from a former Nepalese Prime Minister, Baburam Pattarai, about Nepal's monarchy.
Yes, Pattarai, a prominent political figure, former Maoist leader. He stated recently that restoring Nepal's monarchy would harm both India's and Nepal's interests.
Nepal became a republic back in 2008, right? After abolishing the monarchy.
Correct. Pattarai argues that transition to a federal democratic republic was crucial for democracy and regional stability. He's warning that bringing back the monarchy could undermine all that.
He emphasized Nepal's current secular, inclusive constitution.
Yes, achieved after a long struggle. He sees the monarchy as representing a feudal, exclusionary system that's just not compatible with modern democracy.
And what's his view on India's role in this?
He believes India, as a major democracy and neighbor, should support Nepal's current democratic system, not entertain any ideas of monarchical restoration.
What about concerns over China's influence in Nepal? How does that factor in?
Pattarai suggests a stable, democratic Nepal is actually in India's strategic interest, perhaps more so than a potentially unstable monarchy, especially with China's presence.
So he's calling for stronger India-Nepal ties based on
Mutual respect, non-interference, urging India to engage with all political forces in Nepal, not play favorites, essentially supporting Nepal's democratic path.
Got it. Now back to the Pahalgam attack aftermath. We're seeing reactions from the sports world again, this time from Indian cricketer Shikhar Dhawan.
Right. Dhawan strongly condemned remarks made by Pakistani cricketers Mohammad Shahidi and Shahid Afridi regarding the attack.
What was Dhawan's criticism?
He felt their comments were insensitive, that they failed to acknowledge the tragedy and the victim's suffering adequately.
So he's calling for more empathy from public figures.
Exactly. Emphasizing unity, solidarity, and tragedy. He called for caution and empathy, especially from athletes who have a big platform.
He was disappointed that comments could inflame tensions.
Yes. He felt such comments could worsen emotions rather than promote peace, especially given how sensitive the issue is in India, where the attack was widely condemned.
And he reiterated a clear stance against terrorism.
Unequivocally. Condemning terrorism, calling for communities to unite against it, it really highlights that intersection of sports, politics, and social responsibility.
Athletes' words carry weight.
They really do. Dewan's core message was about respecting the victims and their families, focusing on healing and unity.
Okay, let's move to a national event, the Padma Awards ceremony.
Yes, President Murmu conferred the 2025 Padma Awards recently, a major ceremony at Rashtrapati Bhavan.
Attended by the VP, PM Modi, Home Minister Amit Shah. A big occasion.
Yeah.
How many were honored this time?
This ceremony honored 71 recipients out of the 139 announced earlier this year.
Who received the Padma Vibhushan, the second highest award?
Several distinguished individuals, Osamu Suzuki posthumously for his huge impact on India's auto sector, with Maruti Suzuki creating over 1 million jobs.
A massive legacy. Who else?
Dr. Dina Geshwar Reddy in gastroenterology, Dr. Lakshminarayana Subramaniam for classical music, and M.T. Vasudeva Nair posthumously for literature and cinema.
And the Padma Bhushan honorees. That's the third highest.
Notable names there, too. Filmmaker Shekhar Kapoor, Telugu cinema star Nandamuri Balakrishna.
Ghazal singer Pankaj Udhas. Posthumously, his wife accepted.
Right, and Sushil Kumar Modi, also posthumously, Bihar's former deputy CM, recognized for fiscal reforms, particularly his role in shaping the GST.
The Padma Shri list is always fascinating, covering so many fields. Any standouts?
So many. Cricketer Ravichandran Ashwin, hockey player PR Srijesh from sports, Arundhati Bhattacharya from banking, Vinod Tham, the father of the Pentium, from tech.
Dr. Vijayalakshmi Dishman in oncology, by Harjinder Singh in spiritual music.
The Ms. Bhimava Dadabalapa Sheliki, a 96-year-old puppeteer, amazing. Pandit Ganeshwar Shastri Dravid for Vedic scholarship, Friday Narayan Dikshit for public service. It's incredibly diverse.
And international awardees, too.
Yes. Shaka Ali Al-Jaber Al-Sabah from Kuwait for promoting yoga, Stephen Knapp from the U.S. for Vedic culture.
It really celebrates excellence across the board. Trade, arts, medicine, sports, social work. A snapshot of India's diverse achievements.
Absolutely. And honoring both enduring legacies posthumously and the ongoing contributions of living awardees, it recognizes national and global impact.
Finally, we have a really unusual headline. Science investigating traditional rain-inducing rituals.
This is quite something, a collaboration between the Madhya Pradesh Council of Science and Technology, IIT Indore, and the Indian Meteorological Department.
What exactly are they investigating?
Whether traditional heavens or fire rituals can actually induce rainfall. They're analyzing aerosol emissions and cloud formation during these rituals.
Which specific ritual?
A Somyagya at the Mahakaleshwar Temple in Ujjain. It involves offering juice from a specific plant, Sarcostemma brevistigma, into the fire. This produces smoke rich in aerosols.
And the scientific theory is?
That these aerosol particles might act as cloud condensation nuclei, or CCN. Basically, tiny particles that water vapor can condense onto to form cloud droplets, potentially leading to rain.
What kind of instruments are they using? Sounds complex.
Pretty sophisticated stuff. A cloud condensation nuclei counter, a Tethesun balloon measuring temperature, humidity, pressure, and a scanning mobility particle sizer for aerosol size.
And they're collecting data systematically?
Yes, 4 times a day during the ritual and at fixed times for comparison to see if there's a measurable effect.
What are the people involved saying?
Anil Guthari from the Science Council spoke about bridging ancient practices and modern science. A retired IMD scientist, Rajesh Mali, called it unique, a multi-year project.
There's an NGO involved too.
Yes, Akshay Krishi Pariwar. They're facilitating the research, hoping to scientifically validate beliefs and maybe find applications for drought relief.
But the goal is scientific evidence, not just confirming tradition.
That's what the Yagya convener emphasized. It's about the science, not questioning the tradition itself.
Has there been skepticism?
Yes. Reports mention critics and experts declining to comment on the scientific validity at this point.
What if the initial results aren't clear?
They plan to refine methods, maybe use more advanced instruments later. It's seen as an exploratory first step.
Fascinating stuff. The intersection of tradition, science, and maybe even climate solutions.
It really is a unique attempt to scientifically probe age-old practices.
So there you have it. A whirlwind tour, but hopefully a clarifying one, of today's major headlines from India, from that stunning IPL century.
To the tragic attack and its serious geopolitical fallout, the regulatory shifts, political dramas.
The changing car market, flight disruptions, innovative education, tech challenges, regional perspectives, Padma Awards, and even scientific probes into ancient rituals. It covers a lot of ground.
A real reflection of the complexity and dynamism of India today. So many different things happening simultaneously.
And we hope this deep dive has helped you cut through that noise, giving you a clearer picture without feeling overwhelmed.
That was the goal, a concise yet thorough understanding of the key events shaping the day.
As a final thought to leave you with, when you see a 14-year-old shatter records in professional sports and a state government proactively teaching AI in schools,
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other long-held assumptions about potential, about age, about the direction India's heading might be challenged next?
something to ponder. The pace of change seems relentless.
It certainly does. Keep exploring, keep asking questions.
Absolutely. Until our next deep dive, stay curious and stay informed.